Hello there, Ray here, and welcome back. We got a brand new 1.16 snapshot. This is pre-release 3, meaning that they're very close to come out with the final release of 1.16. With these pre-releases, they're really aiming for fixing a lot of bugs that came up recently, or even some older bugs, but they also come in with some new features as well. And don't forget guys, after this video goes live, we will be opening up a world to everybody who wants to join using this new version of Minecraft, and everybody can hop on and test stuff together. These are our snapshot testing streams, and you can join them by joining my Twitch link down below. This is where I test out the newest things that come out in each snapshot and build cool farms and machines for it. I will see all you guys over there after the video. And don't forget, if you haven't already subscribed, go ahead and do that because I do tons of videos about the newest stuff that happens in Minecraft, how you can use this to your advantage. And now let's get into all the changes with the pre-release 3 snapshot. They made a change so that nether fortresses are a little more common. This is probably due to the changes that they made with the biomes and other structures. It was making so that these guys are less common. This will make it a little bit nicer for speedrunners. I just noticed that there is a fungus tree that's trying to cut through this. They actually don't replace these blocks, but they do fill in any air blocks. You can once again put food on unlit campfires. So we go ahead and unlight it with a shovel, and then we can put some food on it. This is mostly for decoration, as a lot of people complain that they changed this. If you have fire resistance, visibility underneath of lava is slightly better than if you don't have it. So this is fire resistance on, this is fire resistance off. You can see there is quite a bit of difference. We made a change to the way piglins can detect people breaking chests or blocks that they seem as precious. So before, if you broke like a gold block in front of them, they would get mad. But if you did it when they weren't watching, they wouldn't attack you or anything like that. But now they made it so that piglins can actually hear when the gold blocks are being broken. And they will actually come after the player. So let's go ahead and break this. There's nobody actually watching. Let's see if anybody comes after us. And yep, my guy came after us. That way if you're inside of a bastion, even if they're not directly within the line of sight, they can still know that you're doing something to their chest and they'll come after you. They also made a fix so that any worlds that you guys generated in version 1.16 pre-release 1, the game will try to attempt to fix those broken worlds. And that version was a bad release that was corrupting a lot of people's worlds. So that's where they quickly came up with pre-release 2. I covered pre-releases 2 changes in the same video that I talked about Pigman gold farms being broken. They also made some changes to when making a new world. Look at these game rules. It will make the descriptions fit your screen so you're able to see it. Also, whenever you run into a situation when the game's trying to load something, it will show you a loading screen now. They also did some technical changes. Regional files now only open in synchronous modes on Windows, not on other operating systems. And you can change this in the options. For dedicated servers, there is sync chunk rights within the chunk properties. For clients, there is sync chunk rights within the option text. The first big fix that they did is they made it so that Piglin XP as well as gold farms will once again work. Now this is something I covered in the previous video where I explained that this change that we see in the last snapshot where they were not working was actually a mistake and accident. And one of the Mojang developers, Slice Lime, even came out with a message saying that even though Pigman giving you XPs when it aggro was an unintentional bug for a long period of time, they didn't intend to actually fix it in this version, but they may fix it in the future, so don't depend on it. Let's go ahead and give it a try. We'll go over here. This is our simple gold and XP farm. So if we just hit one of these guys, they will get angry, all come towards me. Now, every time they come over here and die, this will allow more mobs to be able to spawn in, those pigmen over there, and they will also be angry. So it does seem to be working just fine. We do have our satellite pigmen way off there in the corner. And any new pigmen that come in, even if all these are completely gone, they should be aggroed once again. Let's wait for them to spawn in. There's one guy that just spawned in right there. And you can see he is mad. His hands are up and he's running towards me. Even though there's just one aggro guy in the back, he will constantly re-aggro these guys. So this is a new gold farm. I will be showing it in a future video. It has some really cool stuff added onto it. It actually is an entire AFK beacon farm all in one. They also fixed some other minor bugs to do with these changes that they made with the game rules. They fixed a problem to do with leads attaching to weird spots on small animals like cats and parrots and stuff like that. Now it should look a lot more normal. There was a problem that zombified villagers that were renamed with name tags were sometimes despawning, and they fixed this problem. It had to do with zombifying a renamed villager would not copy the persistence required flag. It was possible that their name tag appeared have been applied while it was not actually really there server side. It also could have been due to mobs and boats disappearing when they are saved in different chunks than the boats. This is a problem we actually ran across on the ProtoTech server. In our stray farm, we have mobs and boats that are hanging over a chunk border, and the one chicken that's always hanging on a different chunk border vanishes every so often when the chunk reloads. Now, there was a weird bug that we ran across while making the sponge farm. Other guardians can actually despawn even though they're a boss and they shouldn't despawn if they're pushed into another portal and an opposite side of the nether portal is loaded with the player being far away from it. This causes the other guardian to actually despawn, and you have to name tag it to avoid this, which shouldn't be the case. I'll put that bug report in the description. They added a feature where you can put items in your offhand by pressing the F key. This is how you get stuff in there, but they also allowed it so you can now get stuff in the offhand by also doing this inside your inventory by pressing the F key. This also allows you to go into any type of container and press the F key to put it directly into your offhand, or put it directly back into these containers or inventories. This is going to be extremely useful for survival. Definitely a quality of life feature. There was a problem to do with spawners, and special tags will actually cause the game to crash, which they fixed. There's a problem you guys probably noticed is if you have a mob that's trying to walk to somewhere and you would teleport it away, when it would be teleported, it would try to go back to the original location where it came from. This made it do a long journey all the way back to the original location, and they have now fixed this. Bees weren't pathfinding away from water, and they would actually go right into it and die inside of it. They changed it so that shouldn't be a problem anymore. There was a problem to do with bees I noticed in my bee farm, which is they try to pathfind through a three-way corner like this and try to escape the area. They still concentrate on trying to get out of this even though they're completely surrounded. They wouldn't actually concentrate on harvesting flowers. So they have now fixed this, so you shouldn't have to cover up the corners of the bee farms like I showed in the video anymore. This was a bug I reported, so I'm very excited to see it fixed. They fixed a problem to do with enchantments on shields. I got one here in my save toolbar. Now the entire thing is enchanted even when you throw it on the ground. You can see all parts of it are shiny. The player holds it, it's also shiny. Very cool that they fixed this. If you would happen to put in a end portal here in the nether dimension, if you go through it, it was applying the nether dimensions to the end dimension, meaning that you'd be teleported out into the void somewhere, usually. Now it will immediately put you here at the obsidian platform, the same coordinates as if you went through a end portal in the overworld. It fixed quite a few different graphical bugs to do with a wide range of things, including like Pigman, when they pick up something, their chest plate wouldn't adjust properly, kind of cutting off part of their figure. This also includes the funny bug to do with turtle shells that were placed onto Pigman's heads were being shown up as no texture. A lot of you guys showed me this and they finally have gave it a texture, so it looks fine on these guys. They fixed a problem that I showed quite often to do with withers, and I actually just showed this a couple of days ago during my stream. It actually wasn't possible to summon in withers at Y level 1 or Y level 0. You could build the whole T-shape, but it just wouldn't turn into a wither. So it's really cool to see that's being fixed. So if I put a wither here, you'll see he is spawned in. Let's just let that guy go down to the void. And then let's also summon one at Y level 0. Same kind of situation. And you can see it works just fine as well. That's pretty cool. So now we'll be able to easily summon in withers in our wither cages on the ProtoTech server that we have in spawn chunks, rather than having to kind of summon them up high and let them fall down into the cage. So it's really cool to see that developers are still fixing bugs that are even quite old. It seems they still haven't fixed the bug to do with minecarts burning in lava yet. They fixed it so bats no longer will break turtle eggs. As you can imagine, this would be kind of like a type of griefing. They fixed a very rare spawn of a strider, which is a strider that has a chicken jockey trying to spawn on top of it. In our testing, it appeared that the chicken jockey would just pick the chicken off and then ply the baby zombie on top of the strider, so you just have a random chicken running around. So now I'm guessing they just avoid that altogether by stopping them from trying to ride on top of striders. They fixed some more desync issues to do with players hopping into minecarts and shifting out of them. This is causing the game to think that you're still in a minecart even though you left. There's a problem to do with chunk loading and saving being extremely slow when think chunk writes equals true. This is causing chunks to save 10 to 20 times slower than normal. It fixed a problem to do with spruce trees and their growing generation looking kind of awkward. Some trees were missing leaves, some trees are really short with only a few leaves. This mostly had to do with changes they made in 1.16 to do with trees trying to be somewhat uniform in the way they're coded. They fixed a problem to do with overworld music can sometimes play in the nether dimension. Now added so it's possible to put shroom lights into composters. That means the majority of stuff that comes off of these giant fungus trees can be composted besides the actual logs. This will make it a lot nicer for our infinitely automatic playerless wood farms, which allows you to get wood 24/7 without using any players. You can check out that video down below, but this essentially means that we can get more material to turn into bone meal, which we can turn around and use to make more of these trees. Made some changes to the way striders spawn, so now they're not as rare as they were. They also made it so striders will stay their bright red color as long as some part of them is touching the lava, instead of it having to specifically be the legs. In some cases, when you would fall and throw a trident, the actual trident you threw would hit the player that threw it. They adjusted it so it shouldn't occur anymore. They fixed it so that recipe book's search function will now allow you to find recipes even if it hasn't been opened before. They fixed another bug that I reported, which is if you hold like space and shift at the same time, you can stay in this position. Before, what happened is you would all of a sudden go into like crouch mode and then your player would start to sink all the way to the bottom. I'm really glad they fixed this because it was really annoying to like shift click and build underneath of water because your player would constantly fall downwards. They also added so that if you get wood from the fungus trees, it also count towards your advancement. Because the ruined nether portals would generate with lava, it would sometimes make it look weird near lava lakes. And they went ahead and fixed that problem. There was a stray emerald block in the bastion structure. Never actually generated with the structures, but it was getting applied and then removed, so they removed it altogether. They also fixed some problems to do with the hoggling stable bastion, but different parts just not matching up. F3Q will give you all the information about different things you can do with F3. Now they changed it so that F3 plus N will explain exactly what it does. Cycles from previous game mode into spectator. This change is probably one of the most annoying changes that they made in the 1.16 version. As someone who does a lot of stuff with creative and switching between game modes, it's extremely annoying that when you switch into survival and then you switch into spectator and then you want to switch into creative, and then you end up back in survival. Talking with one of the Mojang developers, it sounded like he was going to try to fix this, but so far there hasn't been any changes. So I hope we're not stuck with this really bad game mode switching. It's extremely redundant. They fixed the problem to do with giant oak trees. When they would grow, they could actually replace blocks above them. So you couldn't actually make a smaller oak tree by putting blocks above it and then trying to grow it. This was pretty problematic in a lot of tree farms as it just destroyed blocks. It's great to see that this is now fixed before the full release. They also changed it so mobs can once again spawn on the larger bounty boxes near the Nether Fortress. Something I used in my really large and fast Wither Skeleton farms is I extended the spawning space in which mobs could spawn by placing down nether brick in this large bounty box, which you can't see. This is different than the smaller bounty boxes which make up the individual structures. Now mobs once again can spawn on top of nether bricks way out here. And it will be the same type of mobs that spawn inside the fortress, which gives you a lot more spawning spots. They also made a change to gateway portals that when you go through them, when it teleports you, it places you directly on a block rather than a half block too high. When choosing the floating island type, it was often sending you into any type of biome, with the majority of it made out of endstone. They now fix that. Go ahead and give that a try. We'll see what exactly we get. And it appears that there's still endstone here, so I feel like they should change that. There's even some spawners in here. They supposedly tried to do the same type of fix to the cave buffet, which was using netherrack as the main block. They also fixed quite a few bugs to do with game crashes, including if you generate multiple worlds in succession, could cause a crash. There was a pretty big problem to do with maps resetting when upgrading worlds. We noticed this quite a bit when upgrading for different worlds to test them in the newest snapshot. Oftentimes they just wipe everything that's inside of them. Now we should be able to upgrade some older worlds to see if they still work. Now added it so that turtle eggs can hatch on top of red sand. There was some desync to do with lights and how server as well as the client were interpreting them. This problem should not be fixed, so we can see here is the client light level here. Servers here and they're both exactly the same. Players swimming up on the outside of floating water were actually suffocating from the water even though they were out of it. Now that shouldn't be a problem anymore. They made it so that items that even fall into waterlogged stuff will be able to float upwards so they can reach the top of the block. They also made a change so that the seed command is no longer available on multiplayer servers like it was in the snapshot before. They also fixed quite a few rendering issues and how stuff renders in front of other stuff. In the last snapshot, we noticed that piglins are actually shaking when they're in the nether, which they shouldn't do. Only do that in overworld or in the end dimension. And now you can see it's working fine. They also fixed the problem to do if you give a piglet a whole bunch of gold nuggets, he would shift through them extremely fast and spew them out like a fountain. Now it seems that he immediately puts them into his inventory and doesn't really look at them like he does with other gold stuff. Now they do have inventory slots, and if you would kill them, they will give everything that they picked up. So there's all your gold nuggets again. They also changed it so that bees won't stay angry for an extremely long time. A lot of noticeable changes, not only old but well as new bugs being fixed. Biggest one, of course, is the Pigman XP farm. So we're still able to use these, but they did say they are probably going to remove this in the future as it was a bug. They really want players to get only XPs as well as rare loot if they kill the actual mobs themselves. But keep in mind guys, in the new combat update that they are testing, alongside these 1.16 versions, they have it so if you hold down your right click, your player will automatically swing about every second. This allows you to kind of like AFK and automatically attack anything that is in front of the player. So you could still make AFK farms if they implement this, without even needing any third-party program. Love to hear what you guys think about these changes, as well as if you guys know of any other major bugs that are still in these newest versions. Let me know all that down in the comments. Don't forget guys, we are going to be doing our snapshot testing world with the viewers. You guys can hop on to a new world as we test out these farms and come up with some new cool contraptions. You can find the link to my Twitch stream down in the description. And I will see all you guys there. And as always, don't forget to share this video with your favorite Minecrafters so they can learn about all the cool changes, as well as knowing that their Pigman gold farms will still work in 1.16. As well as leave a like on the video. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye!